In last session, we discussed how to calculate the relevant cost and how to identify the incremental cost and as well as opportunity cost and how to calculate the relevant cost. And today's session, we are going to identify the special short-term decision-making tool that is known as limiting factor analysis. We know that we as firms we are not in a position to fulfill the all requirements of the market in some cases. Okay, in some cases we may having resources but we may not having enough market segment to produce goods and services. Those means we are having limiting factors. Okay, in simply සමහර අවස්ථාවල ඔයාලට දැන් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපිට ඉල්ලුම තියෙනවා අපිට ඉල්ලුම සම්පූර්ණ කරගන්න භාණ්ඩ නිෂ්පාදනය කරගන්න අවශ්‍ය සම්පත් නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන් ප්‍රමාණවත්. ඒ කියන්නේ සම්පූර්ණ ඉල්ලුමටම යන්න සමස්ත ඉල්ලුම කවර් කරන්න. දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදියට ගත්තොත් අපි හිතමු දැන් මේ සෙෂන් එකට ඔයාලගේ part time batch එකේ ළමයි 1000ක් ඉන්නවා කියලා. But here the condition of Zoom our premium purchase කියන්නේ අපි purchase කරලා තියෙන premium එකේ condition එක තමයි maximum should be 300. So if we having that much of capacity, that means if we had 100 applications, we cannot go for that because our purchase condition of the premium account of Zoom is maximum 300 students only can admit. As like that. එතකොට business firm එකකට කෙනෙකුට සමහර වෙලාවට අපිට අවශ්‍ය තරම් ප්‍රමාණවත් අමුද්‍රව්‍ය නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අවශ්‍ය තරම් skills labors නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන් අපේ segment එක. ඒ කියන්නේ market segment in තියෙන ඉල්ලුම සම්පූර්ණ කරන්න. Other side also there. Other side is sometimes we may having enough resources but we may not having market segment. At that scenario, market segment, that means demand becomes the limiting factor. Okay, සමහර වෙලාවට එහෙම වෙන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් ඔය රූපලාවන්‍ය ගාර ගත්තොත් එහෙම දැන් ඔය workshops එහෙම තියෙනවනේ ගම්මාන වලට ඇවිල්ලා. ඒතකොට ගම්මාන වල ඉන්න ගෑනු කට්ටිය ඔක්කොමලා යනවා ඔය workshop. ඊට පස්සේ ඔක්කොමලා ගිහිල්ලා ඔක්කොමලා ඊට පස්සේ සැලුන්ස් පටන් ගන්නවා කියන්නේ. එහෙමනේ workshop තියෙන ලංකාවේ. So ඔක්කොමලා සැලුන්ස් පටන් ගත්තාම ඔක්කොමලා ලෑස්ති බඩු ටික අරගෙන කාර්යය ලෑස්ති කරන්න. නමුත් ඔක්කොමලා මේ පැත්තේ ඉන්න ඔක්කොමලටම සැලුන්ස් තියෙනවා නම් එතකොට මාකට් එකෙන් ඩිමාන්ඩ් එකක් එන්නේ නැහැ. එතකොට එතන ඩිමාන්ඩ් එක තමයි ලිමිටින් ෆැක්ටර් ඇනලයිස් එක වෙන්නේ. Okay, when limiting factors are existing, a product which maximize the contribution for maximizing the profit should be chosen. That's why I will show here. Let's see. A company. There is a company. Okay, I will say that as a firm. Then firm is producing 3 products A, B, and C. A, B, and C. Then let's say main material which uses for product is X. X කියන material එක තමයි අපි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ ඔය A, B, C කියන තුනම හදන්න. Okay, let's say we are having only 1000 units of X we are having. We are having market demand. We are having market demand for A 100, for B 100, for C 100. Okay, A, B, and C. Then here for 1 unit of A we need let's say just assume that we need for 1 unit of A we need 5x. For 1 unit of B or we need 5x. For 1 unit of C, we need 5x. එතකොට මේ demand එක දැන් එකක් හදන්න දැන් 100ක් demand තියෙනවා තුනෙන්ම එකක් හදන්න හැම එකටම 5 ගාන යනවා. එතකොට මේ 100ම fulfill කරන්න නම් if we are going to fulfill all these requirements, then we need 500x for A, 500x for B, 500x for C. That means altogether we need 1500, but only we are having 1000. At that scenario, we need to decide which product should be produced by using available X. ඒ කියන්නේ දැනට තියෙන X කියන අමුද්‍රව්‍ය පාවිච්චි කරලා අපි නිෂ්පාදනය කරන්න ඕනේ A ප්‍රමාණය, B ප්‍රමාණය, or C ප්‍රමාණය, එහෙම නැත්නම් A or B, we can simply the product mix we need to decide. For that one, we can use this tool called limiting factor analysis. අන්න ඒකට තමයි අපි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ limiting factor analysis එක. Okay, so here simply we can use these steps. Okay, these steps. First, I will state here the steps, then I will show how to do this. Okay, first thing, the following steps first one, first of all we need to identify the limiting factor as we did here. අපි මෙතන අඳුනගත්තා වගේ සමහර වෙලාවට raw material මදි වෙන්න පුළුවන්, සමහර වෙලාවට scale driver මදි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. First thing is we need to identify the limiting factor. I will write here, then you can get this material. No, I think already I have sent the material. Therefore, no need to write. First thing is, මම ඔයාලට දාලා තියෙනවා full time එකේ මම ලියපු material එක ඒකේ තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මම ලියන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. I will say first thing is identifying the limiting factor. Second thing is calculating the contribution per unit. Calculating the contribution per unit. එතකොට එක A ගේ contribution per unit එක කීයද, B එකක contribution per unit කීයද, C එකක contribution per unit කීයද. Then calculating the contribution per limiting factor. Then let's say here, if the limiting factor becomes raw material, what is the contribution related to A per raw material unit? එතකොට එක ඒකකයක් අපේ process එකට දැම්මහම A එකක් හදන්න raw material X කියන එකක් දැම්මහම දායකය කීයක් එනවා? That's like that. Then we need to rank those. Based on that rank, we have to identify our production mixture. So here, let's do this. අපි මේක කරමු. එතකොට ඔයාලට identify කරන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, first read carefully. Here, variable cost of product X and Y of ABC company are as follows. Direct material cost, direct labor cost has been given. Within bracket it is saying ₹5 for each. Then here, if direct labor hour cost is ₹5, here we need 2 hours for X and 3 hours for Y. That one we can identify. Then variable overhead cost also has been given 20 and 25. Here then total variable cost 50. Selling price per unit X and Y are 80 and 100 respectively. The number of labor hours available for the month of July restricted to 18,000. Labor hours 18,000යිලු තියෙන්නේ. Expected sale for the month of X is month for X and Y are 3,000 and 5,000 units. That is demand. So here directly we have given the limiting factor as labor hours, but we should know the way of identifying this limiting factor. So here I will show you how to identify the limiting factor. මම මුලින්ම පෙන්නන්න දැන් ඔක 18000 දීලා තියෙනවනේ 18000 දීලා තිබ්බට එහෙම දීලා නැති වුණොත් කොහොමද මේක කරන්න කියලා මම ඔයාලට පෙන්නන්න. First let's determine determination of limiting factor. Here we have been given the demand as 3,000 and 5,000. Now if we are going to fully supply this demand, now we can identify how much of direct labor මම දැන් පෙන්නන්නේ direct labor හිඟයිද නැද්ද කියලා බලන්න හැටි. ඒ විදිහටම තමයි material අනිත් ඒවාත් බලන්න. හරි. මෙතන අපිට direct labor 18,000 දීලා තියෙන නිසා 5,000යි 3,000යි සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම අපි supply කරනවා නම් අපිට මේ ඍජු ශ්‍රමය පැය කීයක් ඕනද කියලා බලමු. Here required hours of direct labor for X demand is 3,000, for Y demand is 5,000. Then as we noted here, per X we need 2 hours of direct labors. For Y we need 3 hours of direct labors. Therefore it's easy to calculate total requirement by multiplying 3,000 by 2 hours and 5,000 by 3 hours. Then we can identify direct labor requirement for X is 2 into 3,000, 6,000 hours. 5,000 into 3, 15,000 hours. Then total direct labor requirement is 6,000 plus 15,000, 21,000 hours. But in this particular case we have noted that the available direct labor hours are 18,000. So available number of hours 18,000. Then here now it is clear that what is this we are not having enough direct labor hours to fulfill this whole demand. So there is a lapse. So we can say that as number of direct labor hours lapsed 3000 hours. දැන් පුතේ ඔයාලට ගානෙදී මේ සාධකය තමයි මේකේ සීමාකාරී සාධකය කියලා දීලා නැත්නම් ඔයා ඒක හොයන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඔයා ඩිරෙක්ට් ලේබර් අවර්ස් වලට විතරක් හදලා ඕක හරියන්නේ නැහැ. සමහර විට ඩිරෙක්ට් ලේබර් අවර්ස් වලට ඇති වෙන්න තියෙනවා කියලා එන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම වුණාම ඔයා මැටීරියල් වලටත් ඔය වැඩේම කරලා බලන්න ඕනේ. In some cases, okay, in the sum you may not given the limiting factor clearly. At that time, as the first step, you should identify the limiting factor. In that case, you need to calculate the number of lapsed direct labor hours or the direct material as like this. Okay, so limiting factor can be a direct labor hours or otherwise direct material in your level. Okay, so if you have not given, your first task is this. But here in this particular sum, actually no need to do this part because clearly it has been mentioned the direct labor hour is the limiting factor. Okay, as you can see here, labor hours available for the month of July is restricted to 18,000. So directly they have been saying that. From other words, the limiting factor is direct labor hours. Okay, now let's see what we have to ask. Prepare the production plan which maximizes the profit. Profit maximizing production plan එක හදන්න තියෙන්නේ. I will add another slide as we are not having enough space. Okay, now we identified the limiting factor. Then next step should be calculation of contribution per unit. So here we are having two products called X and Y. So let's calculate contribution per unit. Let's calculate contribution per unit. X and Y. X and Y. Selling price, you know the way of calculating the contribution. Selling price minus variable cost, here rupees. Selling price has been given as 80 and 100. Selling price has given as 80 for X, for Y 100. Then variable cost we need to deduct. Here variable cost total for x 50 and for y 70. For x 50, for y 70. Then answer is contribution per unit. Here 30, here also 30. Then next step is we need to calculate the limiting factor per now, contribution per limiting factor. For that case, we need to identify limiting factor. In this case, direct labor hours per unit. Here, as we identified for x, we need 2 hours, and for y, we need 3 hours. Then we need to calculate the limiting factor per, sorry, not limiting factor, contribution. Contribution per limiting factor. Here 30 is the contribution per unit. For earn that 30, we need 2 direct labor hours. Here for earn this 30, we need 3 labor hours. So in this case, contribution per limiting factor in the sense direct labor hour, here 15 rupees, here 10 rupees. දැන් පුතේ මේ කියන්නේ x එක ඒකකයක් හදන්න අපි x වලට x හදන්න ඍජු ශ්‍රම පැයක් දානකොට අපිට earn වෙනවා රුපියල් 15ක්. If we put one direct labor hour to produce x, we can earn 15 rupees. When it's become y, if we put one direct labor hour to produce y, we can earn 10. Now it's clear. We can earn more if we put more direct labor hours to produce x. කියන්නේ x එකක් හදන්න අපි ඍජු ශ්‍රම පැයක් දැම්මොත් එහෙම අපිට earn වෙන ප්‍රමාණය රුපියල් 15යි. y එකක් හදන්න දැම්මොත් එහෙම අපිට earn වෙන්නේ රුපියල් 10යි. එහෙනම් අපිට තේරෙනවා දැන් මෙතන අපි වැඩිපුර earn කරන්න පුළුවන් x ට වැඩිපුර ශ්‍රමය යෙදෙව්වොත්. Then let's rank this. Ranking here වැඩි පිළිවෙලට අපි rank කරන. එහෙනම් අපි priority දෙන්න ඕනේ. මම back වෙලා දැන් අපි අඳුරගත්තා 1යි 2යි කොහොමද එන්නේ කියලා. මම මෙතන හදනවා production plan. Profit maximizing production plan. Now we have identified few things. Only we are having 18,000 hours. So we are not having enough direct labor hours to fulfill this 3,000 and 5,000 demand. From the other side, if we put more direct labor hours for X, we can earn more. According to the ranking, we should prioritize the production of X. Okay, let's see now how to identify the production plan. Now, as we noted, we should give the priority to X. If we fulfill the total demand of X, that means 3,000 units. For that one, we need 2 hours. Then for that, we need 6 hours for X. If we allocated, that means direct labor hours availability. At the beginning, we are having 18,000. Okay. Then if we go for the 6,000, balance will be 12,000. දැන් 6,000ක් අරකට දැම්මහම තව 12,000ක් ඉතුරු. So if we use this 12,000, that means here for produce Y 3 hours per unit, that means we can earn 12,000. To get 12,000 here, that means 12,000 divided by 3 hours, that means here 4,000. Okay, Y. Then this is the production mix. Here you can see. First we allocated for X, then balance part. Using the balance part, we produce Y. Then production mix plan, which maximizing the profit is 3,000 X and 4,000 Y. Then next, if the fixed cost for the month is 110,000, compute the profit for the month. Then මේ අපි production plan එකට අනුව කටයුතු කරනකොට profit එක අහනවා. මම මෙතන හදනවා. Now we have identified, we are producing 3,000 X and 4,000 Y. As well as we calculated here the contribution per unit 30 for each. Contribution per unit 30. දෙකටම 30. Then that means if we produces 3,000 X, contribution from that is 3,000 into 30. 3,000 ගුණ කිරීම 9,000. Sorry, 90,000. Then 4,000 into 30, 120,000. Then we can identify if we produce this total production 3000 X and 4000 Y, our total contribution is how much? 210,000 total contribution. Then in the sum, it is saying fixed cost for the month is 110,000. Then you can deduct the fixed cost 110,000. You know that contribution minus fixed cost is the profit. Then profit is 210,000 minus 110,000, 100,000. හදාගන්න පුතේ.